to college admissions night. We'll give everybody just a couple little more minutes to get settled, and then we have a really fun evening for you with lots of great information. Okay. How are we doing up there? Great. Okay, so thanks again, everybody, for coming out tonight. We are so excited to see the turnout and happy that you're all here. We would like to welcome you to our annual college admissions night. My name is Sarah Storm. I am one of the school counselors here at Monty Tech. I'm joined here tonight by my colleague in the back there, Ms. Marchand. So we are two of the 4 school counselors that work directly with your children in grades 10 through 12 as they kind of get into the older grades. So we're excited to be here tonight and excited that Monty Tech is here to host this evening for you. Tonight's presentation is being done in conjunction with MIFA, the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority. So we're excited to host this evening, really geared toward juniors, but open to all students because it's never too early to start thinking about this information and getting a deeper dive into college admissions information. The timing of this evening comes at a great time too because this is the season when the 4 of us school counselors are going into shops and meeting with every junior individually, every sophomore and junior, but focusing junior conversations on course selections for next year, post-secondary planning, bigger discussion about narrowing plans towards senior year. So it's likely that your kiddos have come home with questions about course selections, kind of talking after having talked with us about narrowed plans. So this is a great time in the year to be doing this and thinking a little bit more seriously about graduation plans. We are mostly excited tonight to welcome this evening's speaker to you, Mr. Ryan Forsyth. He is a super friend of Monty Tech and a real expert in the field of college admissions. Ryan currently works as, let me get this right, Vice President of Enrollment Management at Worcester State University. Ryan has spoken here before, and he comes to us with a real wealth of knowledge in the area, having served, I think, in a variety of capacities in higher ed, so we are really excited to have his perspective here. We also love the energy and personality that he brings to this information, so I'm talking you up, and we're excited to have him back here speaking for you tonight. And his broad friend that I'm sure he'll introduce later on. I'll let you do it. His son Mason is here also joining us. Just a couple of housekeeping things for the evening. If you do need the restrooms, they are located in the back of the auditorium around the back side of the hallway here. You should have picked up some handouts on the way in. There is a flyer in there talking about a portal called SCORE, S-C-O-I-R, that we use with students to kind of help in the post-secondary planning process. That's also the portal that we use directly with seniors to track all college application materials, send things out electronically. So we really will be encouraging your kiddos to get comfy with that website, especially towards senior year, and know how to use that to communicate with us about where their applications are headed. Also in the back, you might have picked up some checklists. We hand those out to seniors just to kind of give them a nice one-stop shop handout of the responsibilities that kiddos need to be aware of in the application season. So if your kiddo is leaning toward a 2-year application or a 4-year application, we hand those out every year to seniors, and that's just like a little pre-glimpse into some of the steps that your kids will be responsible for in senior year. Also, we have some college tour handouts in the back of the auditorium. Juniors and seniors are able to take 3 excused days in the building per year, 3 each year, for purposes of a college tour. They just need to fill that flyer out for us in advance to the guidance office, get it pre-approved, and then come back with proof that they attended. So those are 3 great days that your kiddos could use this spring or into senior year to kind of visit some schools. All of our contact information is in the back. Our cards are all back there. Like I said, we are 2 of the 4 upperclassmen school counselors that your kiddos are working directly with. So if you do have questions at the end of the evening that are kind of specific to your child, please absolutely reach out. We are available all the time and happy to help. We'll be hosting some spring workshops with juniors a little bit later on after this presentation to kind of narrow some more on planning and some Common App support for kiddos that are interested in that information. So more to come on that. And also just to be on the lookout in the fall, we do host a career fair annually every fall. And we do host another MIFA night in the fall, similar to this night, but it's a little bit more geared toward specifics on financial aid. So be on the lookout for that presentation also in the fall that's really geared toward seniors in the financial aid process. Okay, I'm going to kick it off to Ryan, and we're here to answer questions throughout the presentation. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you, Ms. Storm. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Good. Wow, that was thoroughly overwhelming. Okay, calm down. Easy. I know it's exciting. How many folks here are students in high school? Raise your hand real high. Are you so excited to be here tonight? This is exactly what you wanted to do. How many folks here are parents of high school students or guardians of high school students? Yeah, okay. Couple more questions. Hands up in the air if you are a junior or the parent of a junior. Very good. Seniors. Yeah. Seniors or parents of seniors. Great. Sophomores. Oh, good. Some early birds. Anyone else? All right. Well, hello. My name is Ryan Forsyth. I am the Vice President at Worcester State. And I am really, really glad to be here with you tonight. We've done this a number of years in a row. And the plan tonight really is to share information with you about making this college search and this college application process a little less daunting and a little less suspicious, because this is a process we want you to go through and feel comfortable with as you're making your way towards what the next step in your educational journey might be. I do have a background in enrollment, so in colleges, that includes things like financial aid, admissions, registration. I've been at a community college, private colleges, public colleges, some in Tennessee and some in New England. And so I'm bringing to you tonight a lot of information that's very generic. We're going to talk about admission at 2-year schools, at 4-year schools. We're going to talk about private schools and public schools and some of the differences. So we're going to hopefully cover it all tonight. As Ms. Storm said, I do have a special guest with me tonight. That is my 12-year-old son over there named Mason. Everyone say, hi, Mason. Hi. Mason is as excited as you are to be here tonight. He really thought this was the highlight of his week. And tonight, I'm going to embarrass him as much as possible. Okay, everyone with me on that one? All right, good. Before we get into embarrassing Mason, I mean the rest of our presentation, we are going to talk a little bit about the college admission process. And first I want to introduce you to a group called MIFA. MIFA is the Massachusetts Educational Finance Authority. Their main mission in existing is to provide education to the residents of Massachusetts free of charge about college, about attending college, about applying to college, about paying for college. MIFA is a nonprofit, quasi-public agency that I volunteer with. So I don't get paid by MIFA. We just do this just to get the word out so that you and others in Massachusetts can feel comfortable doing this college search and college admission process. Now we try to make these presentations in the regions in which we live. I live in this area. I live in Winchendon. My son's applying to come here next year. He's in 8th grade. And so I'm really familiar with Monty Tech. We do a lot of work with the Monty Tech on dual enrollment and things like that through Worcester State. And so I want you to be comfortable knowing that if you have questions about the things that we go over tonight, I'm going to try to answer them as we go. If you have any questions, just throw your hand up. I'll try to call on you, and we'll try to get all the questions answered. If we have too many questions, we might come off just to keep going, and we will be here for about an hour, maybe a little bit more. So let's hop into it. First up, these are the things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the ways in which you find colleges, right? How you research colleges, how you make that list of colleges that you might want to apply to. We're going to talk about some of the things that are happening in higher education right now. some of the trends that are going on. We're going to talk about that process that you're going to experience as you find the college that's right for you. And that's the key. We're finding the college that's right for you, not the person sitting next to you, not your neighbor, not your friend. The college that's right for you. And we will spend a very little bit of time just at the very end talking about financing a college education and some free resources. But as Ms. Storm said, we're not going to focus heavily on financial aid tonight. There is another presentation that Monty Tech hosts here in the fall, Ms. Storm, in the fall for financial aid. So we're going to touch on that very, very quickly, but not too long. Please come back to the presentation in the fall to learn more about financial aid. Let's start with some things that are happening in higher education right now. And I'm going to start with one that I don't even think is on the list. Let me start with a question for you. Why do people go to college? What's the point? Why do we do it? Right? There's an obligation to have an education K through 12, whether it's homeschool or private school or public school, but we don't have to go to college. So why do we do it? What's a reason to go to college? What's a reason you might want to go to college? Yes?
Have a better job.
Better job. That's a popular answer. Absolutely, right? College opens up doors for opportunities for employment that don't exist for folks that do not have a college degree. Absolutely, I appreciate that. Thank you. In the way back. Nope, change your mind. Yes? To make more money. Earning potential goes way up with a baccalaureate degree. An individual that has a bachelor's degree on average makes $1 million to $1.4 million more in their lifetime as compared to a high school graduate. Now, do we all know high school graduates that have been very successful? Absolutely. Do we know YouTubers and TikTok folks that have done well? Yes, we do. But is that the norm? No, it is not. What is normal, what is average, is that students with a baccalaureate degree or even an associate's degree are likely to make more money over the lifetime. Other reasons. What's another reason to go to college? I'm going to give yes. To further your education. Perhaps you just want to learn more. You want to expand that mind. You want to have a greater experience. No matter what college you go to, you're going to have an area of focus, right? We call it majors. A major area of focus where you're going to focus on that one thing that's really interesting to you. Maybe criminal justice, maybe sociology, maybe education, whatever your area is. But you're also going to experience a broad baccalaureate or associate's degree education that introduces you to many topics. And so that lifelong learning, that increasing your potential, your academic ability, comes with college. And I'm going to give you one more. Lower unemployment. A student with a baccalaureate or associate's degree is going to have lower unemployment by approximately 5% on average over the course of their lifetime. More likelihood of the stability of their job as they go through their working years, no matter what their career is. So, we've heard a lot lately about the cost of education, right? College costs a lot. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We've heard a lot about, is college worth it? All those loans. Oh my goodness, I have to take out loans to go to college. Do I need that? And I'm here to tell you that the investment that you're making in yourself with a college education is an investment. When we make an investment, what do? We buy low, we sell high, right? Right? When you buy a stock, you buy that low, you sell it high. You make money off of it. That's what investing in yourself with a college education is. You get that college education for the best value you can get, and then you have greater earning potential, lower unemployment over the course of your lifetime. And so as you hear those Brian Williams stories about students with $200,000 worth of debt in college, know that those are anomalies. What is more common in the United States of America is that students that leave college with a bachelor's degree leave with an average debt of $19,784. I'll say that one more time. An average debt of $19,784. That's a lot of money. But with an earning potential of $1 million over the lifetime in addition to your high school potential, that's worth it. Some other trends. In searching for colleges, students are applying for more colleges in 2024 than they were in 2014. It is common for students to have lists of colleges that are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 colleges. Not that that's necessarily right for you, What's right for you is the number of colleges that you choose. But today, more students are applying to more colleges in general. Web presence for college, web searches for college, influences of social media on your college search are real. So you have already been exposed to college, not only because perhaps you've looked at a few, but because it's organically making it into your searches. I'll give you a little surprise behind the curtain. Us colleges are purposefully buying ads, what appears like organic ads and what don't appear like organic ads, in your social media feeds. So when you're flipping through TikTok and that person just happens to have an Emerson College sweatshirt on them, that might be natural or it might be a placed ad. That's very common because colleges want you to see us as you're going through your teen years. There is a significant emphasis in post-pandemic on the ways in which colleges are admitting students. Today, more colleges are using a heavier reliance on wait lists at your selective schools. So selective schools are places like Northeastern, BU, Harvard, Yale, Princeton. These are campuses that only admit a small percentage of the students that apply. And those campuses are using higher propensity for you to be on a wait list. That's something where you are temporarily on a list that might allow you admission, but doesn't necessarily guarantee you admission. Now, at your lower selectivity schools, that's a little less common, and some of that is driven by the SAT changes. We're going to talk about a lot of these trends throughout tonight, but why don't you get those out first, because these are the kinds of things that more than likely your guidance counselors might be talking about, some of the things that perhaps you're hearing through media or social media about higher education. As I said, we are going to be talking about making that application, making that list, and before we start talking about that, I want to show you a tool. If you're a note taker, go ahead and write this one down. If you're a picture taker, feel free to take out your phone and take a snapshot of what's on the screen. This PowerPoint, by the way, will be sent to your guidance staff, so that way you can access it there. But if you want to have this in your pocket, feel free to take a picture. What this is an organizer, a free organizer, that's made available to you by NEPA. It's on their website right now. You can download it if you want to. And all this is designed to do is organize some of the complicated things that we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about applications and different kinds of applications. We're going to talk about deadlines and important dates in which scholarship applications need to be in. And this organizer provides you with a lot of tools to help keep you organized. And when I say you, I mean whichever you is thinking that the other person needs it in your family. Right? So if you think you need it, or perhaps you think maybe your mom needs it, or perhaps you're thinking your daughter needs it, here's your opportunity to stay organized. So let's start quickly with how we're going to find those colleges. We are in Fitchburg. Well, technically we might be in Westminster right now, right? There's like half the building in Fitchburg and half up. So whichever town we're in right now, you probably know Fitchburg State very well. You probably know Massachusetts Community College well. Maybe you know Franklin Pierce right up the street in New Hampshire well. But maybe you don't know The Ohio State very well. Maybe you don't know UCLA very well. That makes sense, right? How often do people from Westminster or Winchendon or Fitchburg make their way out to California to search for college? Not too often. So where we usually find our information, our first information about colleges is on the web. And here on the screen are a few tools for you. Now, of course, you can use Google, right? If you or I went onto our phones right now and typed in best college for veterinary medicine, I promise you answers would come up. Google would tell you. But Google is going to give you the answers that colleges have paid for, right? Northeastern and BU and Nichols College and Emerson College, they are all attempting to get their information in front of you. So Google is going to give you things that might be organically related to your search or might be paid for. The tools that I'm about to share with you here are tools that are curated. These are curated by folks that care about you and your college search process, like the U.S. Department of Education. And let's start with the top one. At the very top, the College Navigator and the College Scorecard are both resources that are available from the federal government. Now, is the federal government the best place to get on search on there that's standardized and shows you where all of the English programs are, where all the journalism programs are. You can also see on there how much colleges cost, right? You can take a look at, well, let's compare Westfield State to a state university in Virginia and see how much they cost. Is there a difference? It'll also tell you a little bit about what kinds of campuses they have, right? A standard definition of whether this campus is urban or rural. And that's important, right? Because as you're searching for your college, you're looking for what fits you well. And what do you think fits you well as far as location? Do you want to be in a city when you go to college? Do you want to not be in a city? We'll talk a little bit more as we go through the next few slides about how you make that list. But these sites will give you that information for each one of the colleges nationwide. Big Future and MIFA Pathway are also great resources. MIFA, of course, is the organization that I volunteer with. Big Pathway is an opportunity for, Big Future is an opportunity for you also to search generic information about many, many colleges in one place. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how we make that list. So you've got some research options. You've got the College Scorecard, you've got the College Navigator, you've got Google, you've got the information you already know about some campuses and you're getting from media. But how do we decide where we want to go? How many folks, how many students here have been asked the question, where do you want to go to college? Right? Does anyone, as a junior, already have an answer to that question? What's your answer, sir?
I want to go to either UNLH or biotech.
UNLH. Where's that?
University of Northwest Ohio.
University of Northwest Ohio. I like the diverse geography. I like it. And what was the second one?
Biotech. It's in Wyoming.
Wyoming Technical. Very good. One more. Where's someone else that already has the answer to which college they want to go to? UMass Amherst. Wonderful. Not too far away. So if you've already got those answered, if you already know exactly where you want to go to college, I promise you that that is a luxury that some others don't have. It is very normal in junior year to not know for sure where you want to go to college, to not know for sure what you want to study when you go to college, and not even, in some cases, know some of the things that are here on the screen. So let's talk about some of these. If you already know you're going to Wyoming or to UMass Amherst, you know that you're comfortable in a rural setting. It's okay for you to be in a rural setting. That's going to be good. It's going to be calm. It's going to be quiet. There aren't going to be a lot of distractions. But is that right for everybody? Everyone say, bless you, Mason. Bless you, Mason. I don't know what I was talking about now. So, based on the location. So the location that you want to go to college matters because it's what you want. For someone that's already ready to go to UMass or to go to Wyoming, rural's okay. Maybe for you, you want the loud, the excitement of the city. Maybe you don't want to go to a city, but you want to be at least near stuff, right? You want to be able to get to Cumberland Farms. So maybe suburban is right for you. But these are conversations you want to have with yourself and potentially with someone you trust, right? Talk this out with a friend. Talk this out with a parent. Talk this out with a school counselor. Where do you think you want to be for 2, whatever years you go to college? The actual campus that you are at will have a number of amenities, right? We already talked about majors. You're going to have an area of concentration, a major, something you focus on. Like you really, really want to do nursing, or you really want to do agriculture. And so you know what you want in a major. But what else do you want in a college? Do you want a place that has an equestrian team? Very normal at some colleges. There's no such thing as equestrian teams at most community colleges. Do you want to have an academic challenge beyond college? Have you been really, really successful in high school and you think, I want to do an honors program when I go to college? Some colleges have those, others don't. And so some of the characteristics that you think you might want in a college are some of the things that you see listed up here on the screen. What sports might you be interested in college? What clubs might be interesting? Are you looking for housing? Do you want to live on that campus or do you want to commute into those campuses? All of these are good questions that are worth talking about in junior year, because when we get to senior year soon, we're going to be talking about how you make that list. And to know some of these things, not have them locked down, not be stuck in your ways based on what you, but just to have a sense. Will I be comfortable in a big school or a small school? Will I be comfortable with a program, with a technical school, where if it turns out that I don't like computer science after all the other options are technical as well? Or do I want to go to a comprehensive college that has lots of options? All these are great things to think about in your junior year. Once you have an idea of the type of campus that you might be interested in, to the extent that it's possible, we suggest, and I bet your school counselors suggest, getting onto those campuses. A minute ago, Ms. Storm talked about some of the options you have to leave to leave high school for a day to go and visit a college. That's a very common occurrence in junior year, usually closer to the end of junior year, summer during your between your junior and senior year, and even some in the early part of senior year, where you can go and visit a college campus. Colleges want to have you on campus. They want you to see our campuses, because what you'll see on a web search, every college looks pretty, right? Has anyone done a college search, pulled up a college website and seen an ugly picture? Have you? What was it? Oh, we're not going to name it out loud. All right, the college got named out front, and if those people work here, we're going to leave that, okay, between us, okay? So colleges are going to put their best foot forward, right? If you take a look at their website, they're going to show you a pretty picture of the students being happy, right? They're going to be wearing the sweatshirt of the college. They're going to be under a tree, probably with foliage. There'll be a pond. There's always a pond. It'll be beautiful, right? But when you step on a campus, when you actually visit that campus, you know, almost within the first 5 or 7 minutes, whether or not it's a place that you're comfortable with. I'm sorry, say it again? There's no pond? No pond. So you're going to want to visit campuses to the extent that you can. If you step onto UMass Amherst campus, UMass Amherst is an awesome school. Flagship public institution with a wild diversity of academic programs. An awesome place. It is also a city into itself. If you want to be in a place with 25, 30,000 people all living in close proximity, UMass is going to be a blast. If that sounds like a small form of torture, then maybe the big school's not for you. And when you step onto that campus, you'll know that. And that's why we visit campuses. Now, there are definitely formal visits where you go for an open house or a tour, and the very bubbly tour guide takes you around and tells you all the wonderful things, and they're really good at walking backwards and pointing at the same time. But if you go for an informal visit, you just drop in. You just show up. Maybe you go on a Sunday when no one's expecting you, and you just walk around campus. Maybe you visit a campus where you have a friend or a colleague or a family member that can show you around. Maybe someone that will bring you to the nighttime events that happen on campus, not all of them, the ones that you're supposed to be at. It gives you the chance to see that campus and experience it, and not necessarily the sanitized version that the college will show you. Formal visits are important. Formal visits give you the opportunity to show your face. If you're thinking about attending a selective university, think of all the places we can think of that are selective, right? Princeton, Stanford, Boston University. If you're thinking about a selective school, a place that only admits 10 or 15% of their applicants, at those campuses, it is very important for you to be known to the campus. Not only do you want good grades in high school, you want to have a strong application, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. You want to have a nice resume of things that you've done in your past. That makes you more likely to be admitted. But at these selective schools, you want them to know you. And the way that you get known is by visiting the campus. Formally, going to a tour. You meet with the admission counselors if they'll have you. You spend time talking to them if they want to have an interview with you. You spend that time within that interview. Because all of those things at the selective universities are things that the school tracks. They pay attention to how many times you visit. They pay attention to how long you spend with the admission counselors. And those things go into your admission decision. So those formal visits are very important, especially, excuse me, for your selective schools. Informal visits also have their value. Keep in mind, folks, any questions, if you have any questions, just throw a hand up. Happy to answer them. We'll try to answer questions as we go through tonight. In addition to campus visits, in addition to making your way to the campus for a formal tour, for an open house, or perhaps just a Sunday afternoon visit, it is very common, especially in New England, we love our college fairs. College fairs are great opportunities to get an exposure to a good number of colleges all at the same time. Do we attend the one at Mount Wachusett, I presume?
We host one here that night.
Right in-house, okay. So you are lucky. How'd you swing that? Okay, I will talk later.
Yeah, right, we're on it.
So here in New England, it is very common for colleges to come to you. That's not common in other states, right? If you were in Georgia or Oklahoma right now, it's not common for college fairs to happen. But up here, colleges send people to see you. And at some point in the fall semester, at some point in the fall part of your senior year, lots of colleges, probably close to 100 colleges, come to this area just for the purpose of showing themselves to you. And they do so because they go to Mount Wachusett Community College during the day, and lots of high schools go over there to visit. And then at night, all those colleges come right here to your gymnasia, I presume? Yep.
We've been in the cafeteria, but we
In
like
the
to move it because we're seeing more and more. And then parents get a chance to speak to admissions counselors as well. And the caliber of questions are a lot different. So students get exposure and parents can ask their questions. It's been a very successful night for several years.
Love it, love it. The college fair is a great opportunity for you because you're going to have 50 or 100 colleges right here in your cafeteria, and you'll have the opportunity to talk to them. Maybe you won't be able to get out to West Virginia State University, but if we're lucky enough to have West Virginia State University here, you can talk to someone right in person about the campus. Maybe not the same as going off to a college visit and actually stepping on that campus, but a great way to get introduced. Also, a great way, again, for those selective universities to know about you. When you go up to that college fair, you're going to have a conversation with the person behind the table. There'll be someone like me standing there representing Stanford or Berkeley or whatever college is there and saying, I would like to share information with you about my college, and especially for your selective universities, they're looking for information from you. You can even fill out a card, right? They have a card or a computer that you can type your information in. That's another way that you're sort of raising your hand to that selective university to say, hey, I'm interested, pay attention to me. Great opportunity at your college fair, and a great, great opportunity that you have so many colleges here at Monty Tech. There is going to be a time when you have a list of colleges made up based on your preferences. We talked about those preferences: location, majors, existence of sports, all those things that are important to you, and you're going to make that list. Now, it's okay, parents, if the first list that you get from junior is 20 schools long. It'll freak you out at first because every single one of those has an application fee that's expensive. But it's okay if in September it's a really long list, because we're going to trim that list down. That list is going to get trimmed down a lot of different ways. Maybe that campus visit will do it, right? If you step on campus and you have that gut reaction that says, ooh, nobody's friendly here, or I don't like this campus, or it's raining today and therefore I'm not going to apply. Whatever the reason is, that list is going to get trimmed down a little bit. It also might get trimmed down based on how likely it is that you think you'll apply to a school, and perhaps how likely you think it is that that campus will admit you. Now, the list on the screen is likely possible at reach schools. I really don't prefer this list. However, it's realistic to think that we will get admitted to some colleges but not others. Right? If I applied to UMass Lowell and Worcester Polytech and MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, I can expect that with my grades, with my history, that I will likely get admitted to UMass Lowell. I'm not so sure I'll get admitted to WPI, and and MIT admits like 3% of their students, so that's going to be a real reach. That might be how you explain sort of or characterize your colleges. You still want that tech school experience. I still want one of those schools, but it's realistic for me to put them in different categories. Do I want to apply only to UMass Lowell and UMass Dartmouth and UMass Boston? Well, if I'm going to get into one, I might get into all three, but maybe I want to make that reach. Maybe I want to try for that selective school. It's a prudent thing to do because your selective schools are going to admit students as well. Forgive me, I went the wrong way. All right, we're now going to move on a little bit to making an application to a college. For whichever colleges you choose to apply to, and that is your choice, you're going to make that application, and your colleges are going to treat that application in different ways. Excuse me one moment. Earlier, I said to my son, we're doing this presentation, and I need a bottle of water. We're not going to make it through a whole hour without getting a drink. So I said, here's a couple of bucks, go inside and go into Cumberland Farms and buy a bottle of water. And he came out very excited because he got the least expensive bottle of water. Proud of that kid. Got the least expensive water, good. He says, you're going to be so surprised at which kind it was. Oh, what, am I getting smart water or something? He pulls out of the bag a gallon of water. As a kiddo, I can't drink that in front of a crowd of 100 people. I would soak myself. So I went in and bought a second bottle of water. So we're going to make application to multiple colleges, and all of those colleges are going to treat your application differently, and this is the way you're going to receive those admission decisions. Some colleges will have something called regular admission or regular decision admission. And this is something where the college will accept applications, receive applications during October, November, December, and review them during that period, but release that admission decision sometime, usually in the winter, maybe the early spring. And you can see that regular decision means that if a college is going to notify you of admission, and they are using regular admission, then you're not going to hear immediately. You're going to submit your application in October, and you might not get an answer immediately. You're going to hold it a bit, and then release some admission decisions, perhaps, as it says up here, in January. Early action and early decision, on the other hand, are very different. Early action and early decision are admission processes where the colleges are planning to release admission decisions earlier. Right? Where regular admission, you might get your application in by December or January. Maybe you get those decisions in January or February. That's regular admission. Early admission, which is early action or early decision, happens earlier, typically before the holidays. So in your senior year, you're filling out those admission applications. You're submitting them in September, October, November. And your colleges are reviewing those and getting out an admission decision to you typically before the holidays. But there's a difference between early action and early decision. In the case of early action, the college is notifying you earlier. That's the deal. You get your application in a little early, September, October. They get the decision out a little early, before the holidays. Good for you. You got that early action decision. It's just early, right? Early decision, on the other hand, comes with not only that early decision that you get back, that early admission that happens in usually the holiday time, but it comes with a binding agreement. This is important. For a college that offers early decision, at the time that you apply, you're making an agreement with the college that by applying early decision, you are entering into a pseudo contract with that college to say that you understand that if you are accepted to that college, early decision, we're only talking about the third bullet here, early decision. If you are admitted by early decision, that you are now in an obligation to attend that college. Now, it is possible to get out of that obligation, typically for financial reasons, but the obligation is understood. Do I think that a college will sue you if you do not enroll in that college? No, I do not. But this is an obligation that you are agreeing to up front. The reason that this is important is because because early decision is something that's used by some colleges to admit students that are truly committed to those colleges. So think for a moment, if during your high school years or your middle school years, you could only think of going to one college. If you've ever had that experience where the only place I could possibly be happy is Juilliard, or the only place I could be happy is Nichols College. Well, if that's the place for you, and that's the only school you can see in your future, that might be a place to apply early decision. Because if you get admitted, you're pretty gosh darn guaranteed to go there, right? You also might, depending on the college, have a better chance for admission if you're applying early decision. That's the benefit of early decision. But you truly don't want to do that for campuses that you're really not sure about. The average student, as we said at the very beginning, I think, the average student is applying to more and more colleges these days, mostly because there are so many more college options out there. There's more colleges, there's more places for you to go. Students travel now. So it's okay for you to apply to multiple schools and not to lock yourself down to one. However, if you think there's that one place that no questions asked, that's the place for you, early decision might be your right. The fourth option for admission is rolling admission. This is very common in some of your less selective institutions, where the moment that you put your application in and it becomes complete, that college is going to review it almost immediately and get you back a decision very quickly. It's rolling, right? So they receive your application in October, they review it, you have a decision in November. They receive your application in December, they review it, you get a decision in January. So that's rolling admission. It happens all senior year long, and you can get your decision back almost immediately. And then last but not least is open admission, right? Yep, open admission. Open admission or open enrollment institutions. Can anyone name an open enrollment school? Open enrollment is usually your community colleges. So a community college, especially by their charter, by their existence in Massachusetts, are designed to be open enrollment. That means that every student that graduates high school or otherwise completes a secondary school credential, GED, HiSET, or otherwise, can be admitted to your community college. So if you're looking to enter an associate's degree program or begin at a community college, then transfer to a four-year school, most academic programs at your community college are open enrollment, which means you make your application and you are close to guaranteed admission as long as you have graduated high school. There are some exceptions to this. There are some selective programs at community colleges. Examples are things like dental programs, nursing programs, where they may have selective admission criteria. But the majority of academic programs at your community college are going to be open enrollment, which means all students that have graduated high school are welcome. Okay, we're going to talk about specific applications. Oh, yes, there's a question.
Quick question. If your child applies for early decision, doesn't get a response for that, can they then go and be transferred to the regular admission process at the same school?
Yes, thank you for the question. The question was, if a student applies early decision and is not admitted early decision, can they be admitted through another admission process, such as regular admission? And the answer to that is it depends on the college. Most colleges that have early decision or early action are going to roll their admission option to the next option, right? So if you don't get in early action, early decision, you'll be offered the opportunity to be considered for regular admission. But I cannot say that universally for every single college. It is possible that if a student does not get admitted early decision at some colleges, they would not be admitted to regular decision. Thank you for the question. This is like what your seatmate there said about you asking questions. Please, everyone, ask questions. All right, keep going. Admission application forms. The most common, well, I shouldn't say that. One of the common applications across the United States is the Common App. The Common App is found at the website right there. Again, you're welcome to take pictures if you'd like. Common App at commonapp.org is an application that is used by hundreds of colleges, probably over 1,000 colleges by now, nationwide. So whether you are considering a public college, a private college, a big school, a small school, one in New England, one out west, the Common Application may be the place where you can apply using a single application to multiple different colleges. You do need to have an account for Common Apps. You just log on, you create an account for yourself, and you can apply to multiple colleges using the Common App. A find colleges, they do have general information about colleges on there, as well as make application. In addition to the common application is a different application called the Universal College app, and we'll cover the Coalition app at the same time. The Universal College app and the Coalition app are additional multiple school applications. These are applications that are available to some different colleges nationwide. The Common App used to be a very exclusive club, right? You had to be a special kind of college to get into the Common App. The Common App changed its model to where now there's many colleges, hundreds, thousands of colleges through the Common App. And so a small group of a couple small groups of colleges created the second bullet and third bullet, the Coalition app and the Universal app, which give you opportunities to apply to other colleges through the same modality. Last but not least are college-specific applications, right? So if you are applying to Assumption College, they might not be using the Common App. They might have the Assumption app, right? Their own special application just for their college, and therefore they could have a paper application, a web-based application, but it'll be specific to just that college. You want to pay real close attention to what the colleges want. It's going to be very obvious on their websites which kind of application they're looking for, but obviously if you're if you're looking at a school that prefers the Common App, use the Common App. If you're looking at a college that says they prefer their own website-based or paper-based application, you probably want to use what that college prefers. But it'll be pretty darn obvious on their website what they're looking for. When you complete that application, you're going to supply information with it. Now, if you were attending an open enrollment institution, if you're applying to Mount Wachusett Community College, more than likely all the Mount is going to ask you for is your application, the application you complete online or paper, and your transcript from here at high school. You'll be looking for a transcript that includes information from your freshman, sophomore, and junior years, as well as information from the very beginning of your senior year, first quarter senior year. That information for the Mount is all they're going to need. Just looking for the application and the transcript, you have made application. It's an open enrollment institution, which means you will probably be admitted, very likely to be admitted. With other institutions, they will ask for more things. If you're looking at a public school, that public school might be looking, public or private school, might be looking for other things to come with the application. And some of those things are listed up here on the screen. Some institutions are using transcripts as a major factor in admissions. So the courses you've taken, the grades you've received, the rigor of the coursework, the number of honors courses, AP courses, dual enrollment courses. Those are things that are really important to some colleges, and they will see that on your high school transcript. Other colleges will be looking for other things, such as things like standardized test scores. Standardized tests include things like the SAT, ACT, and other nationwide standardized tests. These tests were very popular years ago when your guidance counselors and I went to college. It was very, very common to take the test, and that test was extremely important in your admission decision. Right before the pandemic, right before 2020, the SAT and ACT started to fall out of favor. Colleges were using the SAT less and less each year to make college decisions. And then the pandemic happened, and no one could take the test. Right? Because remember, the SAT was only offered in person. You had to go to a place, and in 2020, we couldn't go to places. So there was no SATs. Nobody had an SAT score. Nobody could take the SAT. And so what did colleges do? Colleges said, you know what? For 2020, we're going to skip it. We're not going to require the SAT. And guess what? Students went to college. And students were successful in college. So since 2020, since the pandemic, many, many colleges are no longer requiring the SAT. In some cases, colleges will tell you that they are SAT optional, or standardized test optional. That means that if you don't like your standardized test scores, or you don't have them, you don't have to provide them. They're optional. On the other hand, if you took an SAT or an ACT, and gosh darn it, I'm proud of that. I got a 1600 on that bad boy, and I want someone to look at it. If you're at an SAT optional school, you provide that high score because that can help you in the admission process. That's SAT optional. There are other colleges that are SAT blind, which means they will not look at them. If you send them, they will ignore them. If you send them, they will destroy them. They don't look at SATs, they are blind to SATs. So your college will tell you, they will tell you whether or not they want standardized test scores, whether they're looking for the SAT or ACT, whether SAT optional or SAT blind. In addition to that, a number of other items may be required by your college. Many colleges will require a writing sample, a letter of recommendation, a resume, information about you to get a better picture of who you are. Some of the colleges, depending on what you're looking to study, may also require something like a portfolio. Perhaps if you're looking at an art program or a music program, they may be looking for examples of the artwork that you have done or the musical performances that you have been in. They might look for information about some of the activities that you've been in, which can sometimes be on a list of activities or a resume. Lots of different things that you can include with an admission application, but what you want to make sure you're doing is including everything that's required. Right? If you're applying to an art school, or an art program, you want to go to Mass Art in Boston. Awesome art school, low cost, public school, great place. But if you apply and you don't provide a portfolio, they're going to consider your application incomplete and not consider it. So you want to make sure you're following along those instructions for each college. Whatever they want, you provide. If there are optional things, they are optional for a reason. Again, SAT is a great example. Provide them if you want to. But if the writing sample or letter recommendation is optional, it is your option. I think they can only help. If you have a good letter of recommendation and it's optional, include it. But if it's required, make sure it's there. There is going to be a review, we touched on this a few moments ago, of your academic experience. There are very few colleges and universities in the country that completely ignore academic preparation. There's a few. So there's a couple colleges out there that will look at everything else on that list a minute ago and ignore your transcript, but it's not common. What's much more common is colleges are looking for someone, looking for a student that has some academic experiences that indicate to them that they're likely to be successful in college. Right? Not every college is looking for a straight A student. Harvard every year admits C-level students, but they're looking for a student that they believe can be successful in their college environment. And so there will be an examination of your academic record at most colleges. They're going to be looking at the courses you took, the persistence towards academic success, the rigor of the courses you took. If a college is looking for higher GPAs, things like honors courses, advanced placement courses, dual enrollment courses, those really help your GPA. So for a campus that's focusing on some of that academic ability, some of that academic history, challenging yourself with an honors course or a dual enrollment course, that can help you in the admission process. Additionally, if you have the option to exceed some of the requirements, so here at high school, I mean, you are exceeding every day of the week. You're taking 2 full curricula as you're going through high school, right? Your technical experience and your college preparatory experience. That's huge. Colleges love that. So you want to talk that up, perhaps in your letter, while also they're going to take a look at it on your transcript. And last but not least, specifically about Massachusetts, we're in Massachusetts, so we have to mention this. At your public colleges and universities, including the one I work at, all the UMass campuses, those campuses are looking to make sure you have completed a certain number of courses in high school. So if you were given the option to take 3 or 4 maths, 4 maths, if you were supposed to take 4 maths in high school, but for some reason you did not take 4, and it was unlikely, if you did not take 4, that would be something the high school will look at and go, uh-oh, there's an omission in that student's academic experience. So at a public high school, it's very common for you to complete all of the graduation requirements here that also satisfy those Massachusetts public unit and course requirements. So that last bullet, probably everyone in this room is going to meet that. We talked a little bit about standardized tests already. We talked about SAT and ACT especially, and that they are required at some colleges for admission, but not all. You can see that they both measure college readiness, or at least they present themselves as doing so, and that they are offering the opportunity for students to prepare for those tests, take those tests, receive scores, and present themselves to colleges. I will put my own little personal bias in here right now and tell you that I personally do not believe that SATs or ACTs predict college success. And that is why so many colleges are doing without them now. However, since the pandemic, even though there's hundreds and hundreds of colleges that aren't using SATs anymore, they're starting to come back. So you can, especially if you're applying to certain schools, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology is a great example of a school that decided to bring the SAT requirement back. So if you're looking at specific schools, that SAT or that ACT is really important. PSAT, many of you have probably already taken, many of you have taken that already, gives you a preparation, gives you the experience of offering that assessment, knowing a little bit about yourself as you're in high school, and then of course preparing for the SAT. And last but not least are your advanced placement exams. If you have taken an advanced placement course in high school, congratulations, you have given yourself that academic challenge. If you received a good grade in that course, that is positively affecting your GPA as you go into the college admission process, so way to go. And you had the option to take an exam at the end. If you decided to take that exam as part of your AP course, then you received a score sheet, something back from the College Board that showed you that you scored a 3 or a 4 or a 5 on that AP test. If you scored if you received that score report and you have a score on an AP test, it's important that you provide that to your colleges. Show them. Show Nichols College, show Emmanuel College, show Simmons College that you took an AP course, and then you took the test, and that you got a score. At many colleges, if you score a 3, a 4, or a 5 on the AP test, it can translate to free college credit. That means you already have a college class completed, in your pocket, done, paid for, and ready to go before you even get to college. So if you have an AP test score, exam score, please provide that to your colleges. There's a question all the way in the back.
If you're taking AP classes senior year and you're taking the AP exam, like May or something, can you still put those that onto your transcript after you apply to said college?
Yes, the question is if you're taking an AP course during your senior year and not taking the AP test until the end of your senior year, can you still possibly get that credit for that course or that test? And the answer is absolutely yes. Before you take that test at the end of your senior year, you're already going to be applying to college, right? So you're going to tell the college you're taking the class. The college will be impressed by that, but they won't see your grade yet and they won't see the test score yet. That's okay. You still, at the end of senior year, want to provide that AP exam score to your colleges, though, because even after your senior year, you can get that college credit added to your record at your new college. So yes, absolutely. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to talk a little bit about making up that resume. So you have had experiences in your life, in your high school, especially your high school career, that are different than everybody else. Right? Even if you do the same sports as your friend, right? You are on the same track team and the same cross-country team. Well, gosh darn, both of those things go on the resume. But you are still different than your friend because you have experiences in your community, or experiences in your church, or experiences in your family that are totally different than your friend. And on a resume or a list of activities, this is your opportunity to brag. Some students are really comfortable with bragging. Others might not be. This is your chance. This is where you should not be bashful about the things that you have done. If you were in high school and you did sports, clubs, church, youth activities, volunteerism, scouts, anything, the college wants to know that. Because that gives them the picture. Before maybe they interview you, before maybe they read your letter, this is just a list of items that you've done. Right? If you have a gold award from Girl Scouts, if you have an Eagle, or if you're going to be Eagle in Boy Scouts, that goes on there. If you've done a project with a community group or with a church to create something in your community, that goes on there. because the school wants to know more about you than just what's on a transcript. Certainly including any type of extracurricular experiences, certainly including any type of employment. You don't want to hang your hat completely on employment. So if you have worked at the ice cream stand, that is fantastic, but that is one bullet. It is not the whole story about how you help customers at that ice cream stand. It is just one bullet, because there's so much more than just what you do at work. There's the things that you do in life. Additionally, you can add things that are related to your family in here. This is not where you will tell the story of your family. That might be in a letter or a statement that you provide. But in your resume, it's very normal to put in things, especially service-like things that you've done with family. If you have been involved in caring for a family member, that is a fantastic item to include in a resume. Might not come to mind immediately, right? It's not a sport, it's not a volunteer thing, it's not a work thing, but you're working to better your family, and if you're helping take care of a community, a family member, great option to include in a resume. Again, your chance to brag, your chance to sort of show the school who you are more than just your grades. The essay does similar, has a similar effect for you. An essay is going to be required by some colleges, and it's going to be recommended by others. So if you have the option to submit an essay, a letter, a statement, go ahead and do so. If that essay has a prompt, right? In some cases, you'll have just the option to write. Send us a writing statement. Send us a story of you. Great. That's free form. You can just go down. But if there's a prompt, a specific thing, tell us about an event that changed your life. Tell us about an experience that was challenging for you. That's a prompt. Do not change that prompt to go off on a different topic. That prompt is there for a reason. It's what the college wants to know about you. If they're asking for something specific, you stay on point as best you can, and you want to touch on those things. If you have the opportunity to write an essay, you might be able to use that essay for a couple of different colleges, but I promise you, you'll want to read that over before you submit it to multiple schools. Your prompt at one school and your prompt at another school can be different. You do not want to, offend is the wrong word, but you do not want to embarrass yourself in the admission process by giving an essay that is not on point on the topic that you're looking for. This is something that it is important for you to have someone look it over, make sure those punctuation that I know we don't like to use anymore, but we have to make sure it's right in your essay. Make sure that the statement of verb conjugation is there. Make sure that you're using pronouns and accuracy in your vocabulary, and there's a way to do that. Do not have someone else write your essay. Do not have someone else significantly rewrite your essay. But do write an essay from your heart on that prompt and have someone that's meaningful to you review it. Just have someone else take a look at it. Make sure it makes sense to them. Have someone with ability. Maybe you have someone in your school, a teacher, a friend, a counselor that would be willing to give it a quick glance over to make sure that there isn't anything significantly missing. Make sure the message makes sense. That proofreading is really, really important. And last but not least, ChatGPT is not your friend in this case. ChatGPT is popular. AI is a big part of our future. Right now at my college, we're teaching classes on artificial intelligence because you cannot ignore it. It is the future. And every one of our jobs, no matter what it is, will be affected by artificial intelligence. This is not the time to use it. This is the time to speak from your heart, to speak from your story, to speak from your truth, to share your statement in your authentic voice. Make sure it's proofread, but it's your story, not someone else's, not ChatGPT's. Letters of recommendation are falling off a little bit. We're noticing that fewer and fewer colleges are requiring letters of recommendation. Frankly, that makes a little bit of sense to me because I've been doing this for 21 years, and I think I've seen 2 bad letters of recommendation in that time. It is very common for students to have positive letters, so some colleges are sort of dropping this requirement. But if the requirement is there, just like the essays, just like the resumes, if your college is requiring a letter of recommendation, you want to make sure you've got it in. You want to think ahead of time, think way ahead of time of who might want to do this. If you have someone in your life that is a good influence for you, someone that's been a part of your life in a meaningful way. Probably not a family member, but someone in your circle, your pastor, your teacher, your coach, someone that might be willing to speak to you, speak about you in the ways in which they know you. This person might have capacity to do that, or this person might be really busy. So you want to ask way ahead of time, right? It's not junior year, you don't have to do it right now, but maybe at the end of junior year, definitely by the beginning of senior year, because you're going to want to submit this with your admission applications in the middle part of senior year. You don't want to wait too long. Think about who you might ask. Someone in your life, some of those folks that I mentioned, and make sure that you're asking them nice and early. Interviews are a regular part of some admission processes. If you're applying to a state school, a public school, UMass, Pittsburgh State, Salem State, more than likely an interview is not going to be a required part of the admission process. They might offer the opportunity for you to meet, ask some questions, and have a dialogue, but it's not going to be required. But at some of your more selective schools, an interview is part of the decision-making process. Did everyone go through an interview when you started here, back in 8th grade? Yeah. Similar, right? Mrs. Leamy might have had you prepared with the 5 questions, and you go in and you know that you're there just for 5 or 7 minutes, and you have that conversation. In some ways, this is similar, and in some ways, it's different. With a college admission interview, you're definitely going to have a couple of types. In some cases, the interview is really just to help inform you about the campus. That's the kind that you might have at a state school and at some private schools. But in other cases, it is actually an evaluative experience. They're evaluating you based on your answers, based on your presentation, based on your articulateness. Yep, that's not a word. Based on your ability to be articulate. They want to hear from you who you are, and they want to see how you might fit into that campus. So you're going to want to be ready to talk about the topics that may be important to that interviewer. The interviewer for your selected school might be an admission counselor, right? That would make sense. Kind of like Mrs. Leamy, right? But it might not. It might be an alum of the university, right? I went to a school in Tennessee called Trevecca Nazarene University. As a part of that experience, simply because I graduated from there, I now conduct admission interviews for them. So from Boston, from Massachusetts, I hop on Zoom and I talk to students from California that are applying to a college in Tennessee. That's their interview. So each one of your interviews could be with a different person, an alum, a professor, an admission counselor. Each one could be different. But ultimately, the experience is for them to score you on a rubric to identify how that should contribute to your admission decision. So you want to present well. Maybe it will be in person, maybe it will be Zoom, but either way, you want to be prepared. You want to be without distraction. You want to stay on point. You want to think about the things that you want to talk about before you get there. And you want to be prepared to respond to questions and ask questions. This is a dialogue. It's not scary if you're prepared. It's a good way to think through some of these questions right here. So when you step into that room, you're here to have a great conversation, present yourself well, and obtain some information about the school perhaps. When you have that admission decision, when you've gone through this experience, right? You've provided the admission application, you've got those SATs in, you've got the transcript in, you've gone through the interview, you're finally going to receive that admission decision. It might be rolling, where you receive it pretty quick. It might be early decision or early action, where it happens before the holidays, or it might wait until the spring in regular decision. But either way, you're going to get a decision. Each one of the colleges that you apply to is going to let you know what the outcome was. And the outcome is probably going to be one of the things that are on the screen. Hopefully, you're admitted to every college you want to go to. You apply to 5 different colleges, you get 5 decisions back, and I hope every single one of them is admission. Because then you get to choose. Now you've got 5 schools that said yes, and you get to decide which one to say yes back to, right? So that's admission, that's being admitted. It is possible that you will not be admitted to some colleges. Please know, this is incredibly common. If you're applying to those selective schools that admit 10 or 12 or 15% of their students, that means that 85 or 90% of students that apply get denied. And so you could be denied admission, where typically that is the end of the road. There may be an appellate option, but more than likely, that's probably a no. There is also another option called deferral. Deferral is where you have the option to not necessarily be accepted immediately through that early decision or early action. We talked about that earlier. But you have the option to be considered a little bit later on. That deferral might mean that you're put into the regular admission regular admission pool and then reconsidered for regular admission. Or deferral may mean we can't admit you right now for the September term you want to start in, but maybe we can admit you a semester later or a year later. That's a different kind of admission deferral. Northeastern University does an even different deferral, which is, unfortunately, we can't admit you this fall in Boston, but we will admit you this fall in our other campus in Oakland, California. Right? Different kind of deferral. Is that what you asked for? No, you want to go to Boston, but you got a deferral. That deferral could be to regular admission, deferral could be to a different term, deferral could even, in some cases, be at a different campus. And then last but not least is waitlist. This one might be pretty self-explanatory. You're on a wait list. Kind of like Taylor Swift tickets, you are in a holding pattern, waiting to get in. You hope so. The college does typically, well, some colleges typically go to that wait list, look for additional students to admit, and sometimes they don't. So this is sort of a holding pattern. You're hoping to get into that last minute. Sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's not. Ultimately, you typically have until May 1st to decide, right? So like I said, up top, you get admitted in the blue to 5 different colleges. Congratulations, good for you. You now have to decide which one you want to say yes to. They've said yes to you, which one do you want to say yes to? And you usually have until May 1st to make that decision. The May 1st date is what we call the National Candidates Reply Date. It's an important date because all colleges, most colleges, adhere to it and allow you to make that decision up until that point. May 1st is close to the end of senior year, so you're getting to that point where, yeah, that's a good time to make that decision. But if you wait until after that school's deadline, which is typically May 1st, then you may lose the option to say yes, because that school is looking for your answer back by May 1st. If you try to contact them on May 15th and say, oops, I meant to say yes, I want to come here, their class may already be full, or they may not have housing for you, or they may not have financial aid for you. So you want to make sure you meet that May 1st deadline. Fun fact this year, you all are juniors, so you don't have to deal with this, but the folks that are seniors right now, many colleges are moving that May 1st deadline to June 1st because there's lots of complications this year with financial aid. Stuff that you don't need to bore yourself with. It will all be fixed by the time you're applying to college, but right now it's kind of a hot mess. So seniors this year, many colleges are moving that May 1st deadline to June 1st. We're going to talk real briefly, just a couple quick slides about financing your college education, about making college affordable. Near the beginning of tonight's presentation, we talked about the reasons we go to college. We go for a better job, we go for better opportunities, we go to expand our mind. I forget what else. We go to get into graduate schools. We go to be doctors and lawyers and candlestick makers, right? So going to college has value, but that value is based on the ways in which it is affordable for you at the time. Many college students borrow loans to go to college. Many college students use money out of their current pocket or their parents' pocket to go to college. Because college is expensive. It's an investment in yourself that I think has value, and I hope you do too, but it is expensive. And so how do we make sure that it's not too expensive? If you pay too much for your education and you have $100,000 worth of debt when you get out of college, and then you're a social worker making $30,000 a year in your first job, that's really tough. So how do we make sure that that cost is low? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention to the net cost of many of our colleges. Remember earlier, we all took pictures of the screen where we showed the college scorecard and the college navigator, right? collegenavigator.org and collegescorecard.org. Those two websites have information about the net price of colleges. The net price, not the sticker price, but the amount that students actually pay. And that helps you know that Holy Cross is going to be more expensive than Mount Wachusett Community College. Let's just say that out loud. Holy Cross, the tuition fees there might be $60,000. The tuition fees at Mount Wachusett Community College might be $9,000. Now, we all hope that you get a lot of financial aid. We hope that Holy Cross price comes way down. But we already know that your private schools cost more money. It's likely that your private college experience will result in possibly more debt. So take a look at College Navigator. Take a look at the college scorecard to find out how much those colleges cost. I'll tell you a quick, brief personal story. I was in my 4th year of working in this industry. I was working at Westfield State at the time, and my parents called me. Now, how old are you when you've been working for 4 years? 25, 26 years old? I think I was 25. And my parents called me. And in my family, it was not normal for parents and kids to talk about money. I don't know how your family is, but in my family, the idea of my parents telling me how much they made or how much debt they had as a kid, that was not normal. We didn't talk about that kind of stuff. And at 25, my parents shattered my reality by saying to me they didn't have enough money to send my sister to college. Wow. That's heavy stuff, Mom. Thanks for calling. See you at Thanksgiving. The reason they were calling me is because they were in a panic. My sister had applied to one college. It was a very expensive college. And she got $10,000 worth of financial aid, which barely made a dent. And so they were going to be borrowing $41,000 a year to send my sister to this school. And that was the only school she applied to. And they called me in a panic. What do we do? What do we do? Now, what we ended up doing is we had her apply to another college at the last minute. She got admitted. She had an honors, a merit scholarship, and it was a public school that cost a little less, so it was affordable. Now, not all private colleges end up being expensive, because if you get enough financial aid, that private college can be just as affordable as that lower cost college. So that's important to remember. But you also want to make sure you're not putting all your eggs in that one basket. If you end up at that high cost school and you don't get that financial aid, it hurts. There's a lot of financial aid out there. Those financial aid dollars can come to you by you filling out usually no more than 2 financial aid applications. Financial aid application number 1 is a FAFSA. If you don't know that term, write it down. F-A-F-S-A. F like Frank, A like Apple, F like Frank, F-A-F, S like Sam, A like Apple. F-A-F-S-A. The FAFSA is only available at FAFSA.gov. That is the financial aid application that you will fill out in your senior year no matter what college you go to. If you go to a big school, small school, West Coast, East Coast, it doesn't matter, you're going to fill out the FAFSA because the FAFSA is required by all colleges. There's a second financial aid application called the CSS Profile. CSS Profile. That financial aid application is only required at some colleges. And I'm only giving you those 2 pieces of information because as you're starting to review colleges, as you start to go on these campus tours at the end of junior year, maybe you visit a campus or 2 over the summer, those will be important questions to ask the college. Which financial aid applications does your college require? Everybody requires the FAFSA, so you know you're going to do that at all colleges, but do they also require another financial aid application like the CSS Profile? You're going to receive financial aid. Let me say that one more time. You are going to receive some kind of financial assistance to go to college. Every single person who attends a college or university in the United States and is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident gets financial aid. So, if you are not a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, hang back afterwards and we can talk about that. If you or your student are not a permanent resident or not a U.S. citizen, we can talk. But for everyone else that is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident and is going to go to some college, any college in the United States, you are going to receive financial aid. That financial aid might be merit-based scholarships, right? Scholarships that are given to you for some kind of meritorious reason, like good grades or sports. Or you might receive some need-based financial aid, right? Grants or other forms of financial aid that are given to you because you have a financial need. Or you might also receive a student loan, which is a kind of financial aid. Student loans many student loans come from the federal government, have no interest or low interest, but it's a form of financial aid. So you will receive some kind of financial assistance. In Massachusetts right now, a student that has financial need, as calculated by the federal government, if you have financial need after you fill out that FAFSA, all students that have financial need currently can commute to any public state university in Massachusetts, Pittsburgh State, Bridgewater State, Salem State, or community college for no cost. Because the state of Massachusetts, just in the last year, just since the Healy administration got in, has invested incredibly heavily in financial aid from the state. Now, if your income's a little bit higher, if you're not a needy student as determined by the federal government, there's lots of financial aid out there. But if you are a Pell Grant eligible student according to the federal government, you can go to the community college down the street or commute to any state university for no cost. That's right now, that'll be the same when you go to school in after your senior year. Also, if anyone that you know is over the age of 25, regardless of their income, community colleges at this moment right now are free. A community college like Mount Wachusett Community College, Greenfield Community College, Middlesex Community College are all free for anyone over the age of 25 in Massachusetts at this moment. It's called the Mass Reconnect program. Very, very good ways to keep the cost of college low. And last but not least, lots and lots of private scholarships out there. In a minute, I'm going to ask our guidance grants to talk a little bit about the process here at Monty, but please know that there are lots of scholarships out there. There are scholarships from every group, every entity you can think of. Walmart offers scholarships. Nike offers scholarships. Duct Tape offers scholarships. You know how you get the duct tape scholarship? You make something cool out of duct tape and submit it to them, right? Somebody made a prom dress out of duct tape. Send in a picture, got a $1,000 scholarship, right? There's scholarships out there. You can check out NEFA's website for free information on national scholarships like duct tape and Nike and Walmart. And then in the back, we're going to ask our guidance folks to talk about the process that you have for scholarships right here in school. Sure.
All right, so we'll just talk really quick because I know it's kind of getting a little bit late for some students and families. But so everyone should have had this handout right here. It's the yellow form, and it talks a little bit about the platform that we use here with students for the post-secondary planning, and it's called SCOIR, SCOIR. And for seniors, we post all of the local scholarships on SCOIR. So there's a link that we upload, only accessible for seniors, and it has all of the local scholarships that are from Monty Tech students. We have state level scholarships that Monty Tech students receive, and then there are some national sites that we do post on there. But again, all of the local scholarships, like for example, we have a Monty Tech Foundation one. That's a very popular one that gives out lots and lots of money. All the information for that is accessible to families on SCOIR. So again, we make that a live link for students during senior year. So again, sometimes juniors will say, can I start working on them now? Unfortunately, they are only open for senior students.
Yeah, I just wanted to add too, when Ryan was talking about the benefits of capturing credit and dual enrollment and talking about scholarships and saving money, just one quick plug for our articulated credit too. Because you are all vocational students, we have formal relationships with lots of schools in the area where the curriculum that you're completing as vocational students can count as credit at a college. We encourage everybody after this night to go to the Monty Tech website, go to your child's shop, right on the vocational page, and under each shop, in addition to the AP credit and the scholarships, There'll be a list of schools and colleges that accept certain curriculum that your children are doing as free grades or credits at that institution. So if you and your kiddo are not aware of some of the benefits of the actual in-high school curriculum that you can get free credit for, please check that out, because that might help to drive your decisions too for schools and credits and capturing all of these benefits when you start to talk about saving money.
Love it. Great information. Not every high school organizes scholarship information like that. Not every high school is actively seeking articulated credit like that. So on the way out, give those guys a high five, because they are doing good things for you, things that students at other high schools don't have. So good job. We're almost done, folks. A couple more things about financial aid. We already talked about the the financial aid applications. There's the big one at the top, FAFSA. That's the federal application that you're going to complete for every single college. The second one we mentioned was the CSS profile. That's for some colleges. And last but not least are individual college-specific financial aid applications. Financial aid applications are not completed until your senior year. In a normal year, the FAFSA and the profile become available right around October 1st. So right now, you can look at the FAFSA, you can look at the profile, you can go onto these websites that are up on the screen, FAFSA.gov and collegeboard.org/CSS profile to take a look at the applications, but you will not complete them until after October 1st of your senior year. In paying for school, we heard some great examples of ways to save money. That articulated credit that Ms. Storm was talking about is, again, college credits that you're going to get credit for simply because you did your education here. The same thing goes for that AP test score, right? You're going to get credit for having that AP test score. You're going to get credit for that dual enrollment class that you took. So you're eating away at the things you have to pay for when you go to college. Additionally, there's some other ways to make college more affordable. Mass transfer is a great example. We are in a state that cares very much about students being able to make their way from a community college to a four-year school. This is not the case in every state, folks. But in Massachusetts, they've taken the steps to align curriculum between community colleges and state universities. So what that means is, unlike when I was young, perhaps for parents when you were young, and you would transfer colleges and lose credit, that's no longer the case in the state of Massachusetts. If you go to a community college, Massachusetts for instance, and you complete an associate's degree there, mass transfer guarantees you, there's a guarantee, admission to a state university, just for completing your associate's degree, guarantees 100% of every single credit you took at the community college, and it makes you a junior the minute you arrive on campus at that state university. So you lose nothing. And because community colleges cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 less a year than state university, you've already saved money. So if you're thinking that a community college might be part of your educational journey, mass transfer gives you the option to enroll at a community college for 2 years, save your money, and then transfer over to your four-year school like Pittsburgh or Salem or Westfield and complete your degree in that total of 4 years. Tuition break. Tuition break is a program that makes in-state tuition available for you in other states. Because you are a Massachusetts resident, you get to pay less to go to UMass Amherst than students from New Hampshire, right? Because think about it, you live in New Hampshire, you don't pay taxes for here. So if a New Hampshire resident comes to UMass, they pay more than us because we are Massachusetts residents. But if we go to New Hampshire, we pay more because we're out of state in New Hampshire, right? Tuition break levels that playing field. What tuition break does through the New England Board of Higher Education, NEVI, what tuition break does for you is provides you in-state rates or very close to in-state rates at out-of-state public schools. This is only applicable to New England. It's only at UNH, UConn, RIC, and the reason that this is available is because there are some academic programs that exist at those schools that don't exist in Massachusetts. If you're looking for English or history or criminal justice, you're not going to be able to use tuition break. But if you're looking for a pretty unique academic program that you can't find in Massachusetts, but you can find at a public school in New England, other New England states. Tuition break makes those colleges more affordable for you. Right now, we're getting close to the end of this seminar, so if you do have questions, get them ready. We're happy to answer them. After tonight, you can sign up for information through MIFA. Remember, MIFA is a quasi-state agency that their whole mission is to provide information to you. So you can attend more events like this, either in person or online. You can also sign up for updates from MIFA. MIFA will send you timely emails about where you should be in the admission search and the admission application processes. Same goes for financial aid. As you're entering the end of your junior year, now is also the time to start researching those colleges if you haven't already. Start forming that list, start forming those preferences, and then of course, now's a great time to start visits to campuses if you haven't already. Start small, start local, but then think about those college campuses that you might want to visit, maybe over the summer and into the fall. A lot of information to connect with MIFA. If you want to take a screenshot for that, you can catch them online. You can also take a look at various social media, and there's a lot of tutorials, free videos on YouTube if you want to hear more about college admission or college financing and financial aid. And certainly we are very, very happy to have questions. Before everyone heads out, I do want to say a big thank you to Monty Tech. Monty Tech is one of the schools that invites us in every year. We love it. We're able to complete our mission by bringing this important information to you, and not every high school does this. So once again, let's get a big round of applause for the folks who guided us. If you have a question, I promise someone else in the crowd probably does too. Happy to take any questions, and if you want to have a personal conversation, just hang out and we can talk afterwards. Any questions that you want to ask? All right. Oh, yes. Is there a limit to the number of times that you can apply to a college? In most cases, no, there is not. If you do not get admitted in the first year, you can always apply for a second year. There might be some specificity to early decision, but for the most part, colleges can take applications multiple times.
We're just feeling the need to thank Mr. Forsyth for being here before some people take off. Super speaker, thank you so much for being here. Definitely, like you said, stick around if you've got questions, but thank you so much, Ryan, for being here.
Thanks, folks. Any questions, feel free to come down. Have a good night, everybody.